Hi, I'm Tammy Murphy, broker owner of RH2L, bringing the Miami Valley real homes to love. And today we are going to talk about what's next. Welcome back to Real Homes to Love. We are here to share some information with you about what's next in the process. And so today we're going to talk about you are a seller and you have decided to put your house up on the market. What's next, you might ask, and you are going to want to know that it is now time to prepare the property and make it ready for showings, make it ready for all of those photography, videos, that marketing that we're going to want to do to make sure that your house just gets the best first impression possible, and that helps to garner more showings and more interest and hopefully get you a higher price and faster contract so that you can get to the closing table. That's what it's all about in the long run, and we want to make sure you've got those answers here. So we're going to go down through the process. As a seller listing your home, making that decision, you would want to first go through the home and make sure that you have put away any valuables, that you have cleaned or disinfected or maybe decluttered are some things that you would want to do. And again, it's just to make that best first impression that is possible. Sometimes we find that if you know you're already going to have to move, it's just time to go ahead and start packing. So put some things in some boxes, those things that you don't need immediate use to. It's a great way to start cleaning and getting ready for the showings, but also getting ready for the big move that will come when you get a contract and know that you are headed to the closing table. If you have any questions specifically, you will want to seek the advice of your professional real estate person. Hopefully you are working with a realtor and not making this decision on your own, because we know how it is in this day and time, and that there is just so many parts and pieces to the process. So this is why we want to provide you with some information and make sure you have those answers. So moving forward, now you have the listing and the property is live and available, and you're getting blown up with all those showing requests. You've got people wanting to come in and those showings are set. And now you want to say, get some control over the process. This is another time that you might want to work with your realtor and say, can we set times and limits so that I can still live and function and maybe even work from the home during this time while we're listed? And of course, the answer is yes, you should be able to do that. It should be convenient to you, but still accessible for those potential buyers to get through. When the buyers are coming through, you're not going to be there. It's time for the sellers to leave the home prior to the showings, unless there is a medical reason why you are not able to do that. Fully expected that the buyers are able to walk through, take a look at the home with their agent, and then come back hopefully with an offer for you. So that is something to be aware of. As well, you will want to know that the process of getting multiple buyers to come through. Open houses have kind of not been a mainstream event because of COVID and COVID concerns. There are safe ways to provide an open house, and there are safe ways to do those showings. So if you have concerns, again, you want to make sure that you are talking with your realtor so that you can find out and make the best determination for your particular situation. So good luck with that. And now that you've got the house listed, you're going to want to know what's next. Stay tuned. We'll be back to bring you more here at Real Homes to Love on our YouTube channel. We thank you for stopping by. And so now you have next item on your list. You have listed the home, and as the seller, you're wanting to know what's next. And now you're going to get those offers. Hopefully you get multiple offers. Maybe you just get the one offer, but honestly, it just takes the one in order to know that you've got a good deal in hand and something to work with. So when the offers come in, your realtor of choice, the one you are working with who has your listing, is going to contact you and let you know, hey, we've got an offer. When can you meet? Let's get together. Whether that's a face-to-face meeting or a conversation over the phone or something like Zoom, there are ways that we can work with you and talk with you about those offers. Now let's take just a generic situation where you get a offer, meaning you get one offer. It wasn't that long ago, sellers were very happy to get one offer, and they weren't expecting it on the first day necessarily. So yep, this market right now is a little bit crazy and a little bit unprecedented, not the norm whatsoever, but I'm going to tell you, normally, if you are dealing with a contract, then your agent's going to talk with you. Hopefully, they're going to work a net sheet for you. As the seller, it really does come down to what is the bottom dollar that I get to take home, my net proceeds. And maybe more important is those terms, meaning, am I getting to keep occupancy for a little bit after the closing, or is there anything that they've asked for to include that maybe I wasn't prepared to do, such as appliances? You want to know there are some details in that contract that could make or break the deal for you and what is best for you. So these are all conversations that the realtor working with you is going to sit down and explain, or give you a call and explain. We like to know that we're comparing apples to apples. So in the event that you do get multiple offers, you want to have a clear slate of what do I get here versus what do I get here versus what do I get here. What are the terms on this A? What are the terms on here B? And what are the terms here on C? And as neatly as you can lay that information out there, it kind of takes the emotion out of the process and allows for you to determine what is the best offer, what do I need to do, what works best for me, for my family, for this particular property and time. And so those are something that you will want to make sure that your realtor is providing to you. We typically do net sheets because we know that is one of the easiest tools for sellers to make that decision. So what's next coming up? We will have the next step in this process, and hopefully you will stay tuned, follow, like, subscribe to our channel. We appreciate your support. Hi there, this is Tammy Murphy with RH2L, bringing you real homes to love in the greater Miami Valley area. And this series of our What's Next is kind of walking through the process a little at a time to give you a quick rundown of maybe some questions you might want to ask your realtor, or maybe some questions that you want to make sure that you understand before someone talks to you about listing, selling, or buying your next home. So we're at the point where we have contracts in play, and the seller, as the seller, your direction is going to be what's next. I've accepted the offer and we're supposed to be moving forward. So what do I expect? And at this point, as the seller, your next triggering point is going to be the inspection. So in that contract, if they asked for an inspection period, now the buyers are going to have the opportunity to come back into the home with a home inspector and be able to really look at the property. And the inspector is going to give them an evaluation of current condition, meaning, are there any safety hazard? Is there anything as far as habitability? Is there anything structurally that needs to be concerned? Most of the inspectors are also going to give you a very large report, many pages for those nights that you might have trouble sleeping. And that report is going to be just a generic template of lots of helpful information, things to take care of. How often do you change your HVAC filter system? Just some things that you might want to know, or you may already know if you're an experienced homeowner. But for those first-time buyers out there, this is definitely something that we find to be very helpful for you, is that generic report that comes along with your home inspection, because it's going to tell you what to expect, what you should watch out for, and then maybe some maintenance items, some things that aren't really an issue for the purchase, but maybe something down the road that you would want to make sure you're planned for or prepared for, repairs or things that you'll need to do. I like to call it the honey-do lists, because inevitably somebody gets handed, here, honey, you take care of this, and that is something for you. So the home inspection process allows for those buyers to come through. Typically, the seller is not home during that time. You're leaving the home so that they have free access to be able to walk through and really determine the conditions. Now, sometimes we find that this is an opportunity to do measurements for those windows or appliances, things that the buyer know that they have that they're going to be bringing into the home. We like to suggest that this is a great time to do that, because it does help the buyer to place things in their mind, and also while they have that access, it's not a disturbance to the seller. But in the meantime, sellers are happy because now we are getting that inspection process, means that we're making one step further in the process of towards the closing. And what you as the seller are going to want to know, does the buyer have anything that they're going to need fixed? Are they going to ask me to do any repairs, or are they going to ask for money as a credit? What happens here? And so this is what's next for the sellers. In the inspection process, we, as the agents working for you, the seller, like to say that no news is good news when it comes to the inspections. So this is not some time where we remind people that they have to do these. This is a knowledge that we know in the business, that there is a set designated time for the inspections to take place. And if buyers are unable to meet that time frame, the contract language indicates that they're accepting the property as is. And sometimes buyers don't necessarily decide that they want to do a home inspection. In this crazy market, we're seeing some buyers even waive that right, that they say, nope, I'm buying it as is, moving forward, let's go. And depending on the situation, that may actually work well for you as the seller too. So here is what would be next if there is a home inspection. As the seller, if you are waiting and there has been an issue, then you'll get what's called a post-inspection agreement. And this post-inspection agreement is just basically going to be where the buyer and their agent have looked over that information from the home inspector and said, yep, these are some issues that we think are going to be a problem. We need to get those taken care of. Is the seller willing to repair them? Are they willing to give a credit? And this is a little bit of that negotiation stage that comes back into play. So it's not always as simple as we want it to be. Sometimes there's little things that need to be taken care of, and sometimes there might be larger items that need to be taken care of. And at that point of the process, it is a negotiation. Buyer is going to make a request, seller gets to review it, seller gets to respond how they are feeling comfortable or knowing what they need to do, either to keep the deal or to help the process or to make things right or whatever the situation is. And then the buyer gets to accept or deny what the seller's response is. Assuming that everybody comes to the meeting of the minds, everything is good, buyer accepts, and you move on into the process, and then that will be our next segment. So make sure you return back, watch the next video in this series, and we will tell you what's next. So you've gotten through the listing of the home, you've gotten through the home inspection, you've gotten through the post-inspection process. Hallelujah, now what's next? It is time for the appraisal. So this is the thing that most often is out of everybody's control. Everybody in the process, the seller, the buyer, the buyer's agent, the seller's agent, nobody has any real control over how this appraisal is going to go. We don't know how it's going to go. We know how we want it to go. And everybody in the deal certainly wants to come back to say everything is good, the value is there, move forward in the process. But those appraisers are generated typically from a round robin situation. They don't even know who's coming out for that appraisal from the lender side. Lender gets to put in the request for an appraisal. system goes through, next appraiser in the line gets picked up, and they get the order. And that's how it mostly works now since what happened in 2008, which we don't even want to go there. So the appraiser gets the notification, and they are going to reach out to the listing agent to make that request for the showing. Again, this is a process that typically the seller is not going to be at home during, unless there is some medical restriction or reason why. That is something that the appraiser wants to be able to come in, do a fair assessment, unbiased, and determine what is the current condition of the home in respects to value. So they're not coming through and doing any type of inspections. They're not looking at those things that you had already looked at or had looked at through the inspection itself. But they are generally coming through to say, hey, this looks like it's been updated, or this looks like it's never been updated, or this is brand new, and so everything is good. It just really is a matter of their getting the details and the information that compile that report for what is this true market value of the home. We like to think that that is the process and that everybody has a set order of how they do this. And unfortunately, sometimes we know we can't control who gets that appraisal, and we can't control how they come about with their findings, because sometimes we're scratching our heads. And I'll be honest with you, it is one of those things that I, as the listing agent, am going to do my due diligence and make sure I've gone through and determined what are our comps in the area, what should we be listed at. Here's a nice range of where we feel comfortable that we're still in the buyer's market value point of what we're offering, what's there, and what we're asking for the property. And sometimes you just don't get the appraised value that you want. When that happens, if that happens, hopefully not to you, but if it happens, it is again one of those points where there is a negotiation. You know, that communication throughout this whole process is so critically important, not only between clients to their realtors, buyers to their buyer's agent, sellers to their the selling agent, the listing agent, but it is also between the buyer's agent and the selling agent, seller's agent, because that communication really keeps the process going. We're all trying to work towards the same common goal, which is to get the house sold, closed, new buyers moving in, sellers moving out, and everybody's happy. That's when it's the best, is when everybody walks away feeling good about the process. But that silly little appraisal can surely come in there and cause a problem if it's short. And if it's short by a little bit, you can probably work it out. It's when it's short by more than what you want that it just really does become problematic, you know, and we haven't seen that in a while, but our prices are starting to escalate in the area. And so does start giving us a little bit of concern when there's multiple offers coming in and people are bidding up the price. We don't know that the value is going to be supported when that appraiser comes through. We knew what we listed it at, but now we've got a little bit of that frenzy going on, and I'm going to tell you, it's just going to be one of those things. We have to see how the appraisal comes back. The other part of that is that the appraisers are pretty much, their word is their word. You're not going to change their mind. Sometimes we see that we can provide them with additional information. Maybe there's some specifics that they weren't aware of. Sometimes we get an appraiser from out of the area, and that may cause some issues with the value. As the listing agent, we're going to try to do everything we can. As the buyer's agent, you're going to try to keep the deal together if that's still possible. And truly what should ring true is that you had a valid sale, seller who wants to sell at a price, and the buyer who comes in and makes the offer at a price, and those two came to the meeting of the minds. So here we are, we should be good. It's when there's financing involved and that third party needs to also confirm value that the criteria might change, and that becomes an issue. So hopefully it all works out. We make it work to the end, and through the appraisal process, once that's all clear to go on the loan, we're just set Next thing is going to be the closing. And that's the happy day where sellers get to come to the table and they're paid for what they have sold, and for the buyers who are getting the benefit of getting keys and occupancy then or at a designated time as agreed to in the contract. And so this is just a quick rundown of what's next, and hopefully it goes very quickly. To me, those mile markers are: you go on the market, you get the showings, you get the contract, you get an exception of the contract, and then you get to inspections, and then you get to the appraisal. Then you should be good to go to the closing table itself. And if you have any specific questions or any information that you would like added, please feel free to reach out. Again, this is generic information. It is information that is designed to give you a guide, hopefully give you some questions or answers, and certainly please be sure that you are talking with your realtor as to the specifics for the deal that you may be looking at doing. And we hope to see you around. We thank you so much for stopping by, viewing this video in our series, and we hope to bring you more from another perspective or to answer other questions and just keep it informative for you. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.